Hello and welcome to the latest installment of the Guns and Gear series. As you can tell, this is going to be quite the installment since this is a review of the Novak. Alright, so I was contemplating what I'm going to name this video since this gun is very highly upgraded and it's basically not even the stock gun anymore, it's a completely different gun. So this is the review on my personal upgraded gun that I nicknamed the Novak. The real name of this weapon is the Wilson Combat CQB Elite by Socom Gear, OEM'd by WeTech. So I have it in this temporary case. There was actually a story behind this that I mentioned in the Airsoft storage video, that to take it into an Airsoft shop to I think I was getting new parts or maybe a new magazine, it required that you have your own carrying case, so I just put it in a lunchbox and it's been there ever since. Alright, so this video is taking a very personal note since this gun is very personalized. Here's how I store it in the lunchbox. It's handy because it carries all the attachments all in one place. So here's the compensator, keep under the pistol. I keep the suppressor in this thing for your glasses, keeps it from getting scratched, and also keep the spare magazine behind that so it doesn't scratch up against the gun. Alright, so my personal handgun here, the Wilson Combat CQB Elite 1911 by Socom Gear / nickname the Novak. It is a 1911 and it is a gas blowback. And this gun is very personalized, very customized. And as you can see here, there are a lot of parts that went into this gun. Not necessarily upgrades. WeTech / Socom Gear kind of sucks. So half these things are just replacement parts. So what I recommend getting this gun, yes, if you're going to upgrade it, but there are a lot of token memory parts that are uncompatible. Now, this is probably going to be one of my longest reviews. I've been contemplating making this video. I've been saving it for last, really, because there's a lot of stuff going on with this gun, and it is going to be quite extensive. And so I'm going to go over the entire gun in full review mode now, from top to bottom on this one, and go over as much as I can, as much detail, and that's what this review is all about. My little review series is to go into extreme detail so you know whether or not you want to buy one of these. Alright, so first thing I want to say is that this gun is a really decent weight, really decently balanced. It's full metal. The only thing that's not metal would be the grips. Still remains realistic since grips are usually never metal. And of course this wasn't here originally, and this is rubber. But the weight of this weapon is really nicely balanced. It doesn't weigh as much as my KWA P226 or KWA Glock. They weigh more. But it's got probably the perfect weight to it. I can't say it's as heavy as the real 1911, even fully loaded, but it has a perfect weight in my opinion. So the gun is made out of pot metal, which is a really shitty version of aluminum that Taiwan likes to put in all their little shitty Chinese guns. Pot metal tends to break all the time, especially with WeTechs. This is OEM'd by WeTech, which means they built it. It is licensed by Socom Gear, which means they gave it the trades and they gave it these awesome ass grips. It's probably one of the coolest parts about this gun is those grips. And in my if I had to choose how to customize my 1911, this is what it would end up looking like. Forward cocking serrations, the 3 holes in the trigger, my personal favorite for a 1911 trigger. The MEU beaver tail, this exact configuration with the safeties, the length, the original slide catch. Probably this grip, either this or a carbon fiber grip, but this grip is my favorite grip ever, and it was my first grip, so I got lucky on this one. Of course I would have the original combat hammer. I don't like this one. Maybe a Trigicon sights, but these 3 dots are my preferred for it. And this exact color configuration too is all black except for the barrel itself and the chamber, and this guide rod also being silver. So it is a perfect gun for me. The color scheme you can't really tell right now because it's mostly scratched off and faded. WeTech and Socom Gear uses some really shitty paint, and it tends to just wear off just by using it, not even scratching it off. But you can take your fingernail and literally drag it across the gun, like say here, and here, where it's a little weaker. Not necessarily the slide. The slide is pretty good at resisting huge scratches, but the paint comes off extremely easy. The color scheme on this gun is complete black frame and slide. I think the trigger was originally black, but I'll put some original pictures of this gun being brand new. But the parts like the slide catch, the safety, the magazine release button, the grip safety, I think the hammer, the sight, the rear sight, and the bump plate are all this really dark gunmetal gray, or just gray. Originally the grip screws were also gray. I'm going to go over a bit of compatibility with this weapon. The grips should be compatible with real ones. You probably have to do a little modifying with them. There's nothing sticking out of them. I know that the screws and the length on them is not correct to the real steel. So as far as compatibility goes, you can, when I say that, I mean like Tokyo Marui parts, Tokyo Marui based parts. The trigger is compatible, the magazine release button is compatible, the grips, I don't know if I already said the slide catch, the safeties are probably not, the hammers are, I think they are, the sights are, the grip safety is not, neither is the, what is this thing called, the mainspring housing is not, neither of the mags. The barrels will be slightly longer, and I think the slides are not, neither are the nozzles. I think the inner barrels and hop-ups are compatible, and that is as far as I know. If you really need to know more, I suggest you talk to this guy called Lazouche Custom Shop. He helped me a lot with that, so I give him full credit on what is and what is not compatible. So I may have gotten a little bit of that wrong, so just talk to the Lazouche Custom. I'll put his link to his channel. Alright, so this gun is not stock, so the way all this feels, the way this slide racks forward, the sound it makes, the hammer, the sound that makes, the grip of this, the pull of the trigger, the well, yeah, all that is going to be very different from the model you're going to get, because this gun is, in my opinion, probably the most people highly upgraded, to me at least. So, well, I double chambered it right there. It sounds, it feels very good. Feels very tight in there. The slide, it doesn't rattle around. The original spring will definitely let the tolerance of the slide move around, but the tolerance is tighter. The hammer sounds completely different since it's a totally new hammer. It feels completely different, of course, because of these grips. The trigger stiffer from the spring in the back, and it looks different here. This changes the way the slide feels completely with the new spring and the guide rod, and I keep double feeding it. And the slide, the recoil, the sound is all going to change when you put these upgrades in there. So this is far from stock. Alright, so I'm going to go into a full review mode. I'm going to do slide, then frame, and stuff like that. Starting from the very tip of the gun, the barrel is aluminum. It is not stainless steel as it looks and as it may feel. It has a very nice stainless steel look to it. The guide rod is steel, and it is brushed. I think that's what you would call it. The inner barrel is brass. I think it's a smooth bore. I highly doubt it though. It is threaded to accept the these things. The barrel bushing is also pot metal aluminum. It is the color scheme of gray, gunmetal gray. This is not the original barrel plug. This is the Future Energy one. It has forward cocking serrations for press track. Very good. Here's the front sight, is built into the slide. It is a white dot. It is pretty clean. The rear sights are actually kind of dirty and a little smaller, but I still get really good sight picture on this, and it's really accurate. It has this Picatinny rail on the bottom of it. It is built in with the frame, unlike say the Desert Warriors. It's a pretty slim, low profile, and it is sized nicely. I mean, the P22-6 from KDWA, I couldn't fit like half of my attachments. Well, I only have one attachment, but it wouldn't fit on that gun, but it did fit on here. The top is very smooth, it's just round, very classic looking. It's the other side of the gun. The trades say Wilson Combat since it is licensed. It is laser etched into the weapon. The other side says CQB Elite, laser etched again. There are some trademarks on the frame. They're kind of being covered up by the rubber inserts. It says Wilson Combat Berryville AR USA, made in Taiwan, and the WeTech serial number. Laser etched into the chamber of the weapon is the marking 45 ACP automatic Colt pistol. Racking the slide and locking it will expose the inside of the gun. This is the original nozzle, which lasted 5 years. Surprisingly, it's still good. And as I'm going to mention, the hop-up rubber is garter, and it works fairly well. Here are the rear cocking serrations. My hammer is still kind of tight. Here's the supposedly Novak sight. It doesn't look much like a Novak sight, but well, it does, but it's not exactly like it. It's a little more square. The color scheme is gunmetal gray, and there's those dirty white dots. Mine are dirty. And then in the back of the gun we have the Colt hammer that I replaced it with, and I talked about. I think I'm going to talk about. I filmed this out of order. Is the replaced hammer firing pin thing. Originally it has an Allen key screw in there as the firing pin, and that kept falling out, so we retapped it and put in a new screw to keep the blowback mechanism in place. To take out the blowback mechanism, you remove the top sight and that Allen key from the original one. It can still be removed. This piece here is part of the blowback mechanism. It is gunmetal gray. And there's your I think that's your hammer sears right there. And this little thing here is on the real gun. I think this is the extractor, I'm not sure. And that is just laser etched pretty much into the gun quite deeply. Unlike the, was it stick as the trades? Oh, well, it's probably laser etched in there quite nicely. The tolerance of the weapon. This is the frame and the slide. It is a little further forward. It should be about there. It was perfect. But my spring is pretty strong, so it's pushing it here. Does not impact the performance of the gun at all. Alright, so that was the slide, but since we're doing top to bottom, I want to get the insides as well. So I'm going to disassemble it really quick here. It's quite easy to disassemble. Alright, so here are the insides of the gun. This is the Future Energy barrel plug with a hole in it. This is the spring. As you can tell, it's not all over the place like the original one is. It's a straight line. It's black because it's the AIP enhanced 120% recoil spring. I put the original washer rubber thingy and the washer. Put that on here. Annoying thing about this is that, put forward and untwist, is that these are two separate parts, so if they become loose, it's annoying, and you gotta tighten it up. That's actually how I disassemble it, since it's really hard to pull this forward and then pull this out all at once and take the two and pull them out without the spring shooting all over the place. So to take out this setup I got going on here, it's a whole new recoil setup. I unscrew this completely, and then I just take out this little piece. This is the hop-up retention square thingy, made out of plastic. It breaks very often, so you need to buy another one. This is the hop-up unit. It has the original Tokyo design on the hop-up wheel right there. Mine is pointed down. Well, no, mine's in the middle right now. Off would be like that way, I think. And I made a mistake of buying the hop-up rubber from Garter, even though I didn't need it. I figured out that I had to turn on my hop-up because my BBs were falling out the barrel. The original nozzle, surprising after 5 years that the WeTech nozzle has stayed this well. There's the original what is it called, piston head, but I put gas tape around it to keep the O-ring heavier to allow more gas to not escape. You can figure out how to do that gas mod by following a link to a guy named Eagle Eater who showed you how to do WeTech mods. So I'll give credit to that. I give credit to him on that one. The original barrel is under there. Original barrel with the original brass inner barrel. Alright, so the top of the frame. This piece of the frame chipped off and that damages the hammer, which sucks. This entire piece here moves. It's different design from Tokamari, and this piece is a cutout, and it comes out when you're disassembling it. It's a terrible design, to be honest. There's the insides. See, your grip panels are right here. Oh, that's actually the rubber from the Who grip thingy. And I keep this pretty clean. These insides. I lube these a lot, and I lube the top. Lube that. Keep them well lubed. I use a toothbrush and I cover it in lube and scrape all this and go in there and scrape that up too. So I use a toothbrush covered in silicone oil to lube this gun up and keep it clean. Put it back on the slide. To put the gun back together, probably should have your hammer cocked just to make life easier. And you want to align the slide onto those first two rails, and to keep the trouble out of the way, you want to do this quite fast. If you do it slow, that sear will get in the way and you got to manually push it down. So just do it fast and make life easier on yourself. Alright, moving down, we got the trigger, the original 3-hole trigger. It will have a pretty loose tolerance when you first get it, but thanks to the new 3-leaf spring, the leaf spring, it is a lot stiffer on mine. It has a nice trigger pull. The 1911s have a really short trigger pull, and here's the reset point right there. Yeah, so 1911s have pretty short trigger pulls, which makes them desirable in the shooting world. There it says "we" on the frame. The Zodiac made fun of me for that, because I would hate to admit that this is a WeTech, but it is a WeTech pretty much. But it is Socom gear if you want to just say that. You know, they got the shape of the 1911 down. Here's the what do you call this? The texturization for the grip. It felt nice, but all the paint wore off. Doesn't change how it feels though. Here's the original slide catch. Some slide catches, like the Glock, the P22-6 on these aluminum slides, not so much this one. This is quite a thick aluminum, unlike say NS2 P22-6 as a reference. Using the slide locks on the P22-6 is steel against aluminum, so it eventually will wear out the slide lock. This one always goes pretty high up, so you can always pretty much release your slide and not worry about this slide lock wearing out. And there is your disassembly hole, disassembly oval. And I'm not going to show you how to disassemble because there's hundreds of videos about how to disassemble 1911s. This thing here was originally the gunmetal gray. It has a little prong here and a spring and then another prong for the safety to put it in its position. The slide catch is serrated, and so are the safeties are serrated nicely. And this safety works as a thumb stop. I mean a thumb rest, I meant to say. And it is gunmetal gray. It has a quite positive click. And there's a cutout in the slide so that the gun will not cycle so long as it's on safe. Here you have your gunmetal gray, but the paint wore off. Gunmetal gray beaver tail from MEU Design. The original combat hammer, get the original combat hammer out, is designed so that the round part actually fits down into this little groove, little hole here. But I got that Colt hammer, modified Colt hammer in there now, because the combat hammer broke. Magazine release button is serrated, and this new one has a tougher spring in there, so it's a nicer click. a nicer push. And on this side, the grip is getting in the way slightly, so it's harder to push. So I recommend to cut out that part of the rubber if you have the grip. The beaver tail is very smooth, and in order to pull the trigger, you need to have it pressed down by holding it. They do this so that children with little hands can fully grip the pistol and pull the trigger. Also, say this is in your holster or something like that, and you pick it up and you accidentally press the trigger. You don't want it to fire, so it's pretty smart that they put a grip safety on the 1911. The mainspring housing is serrated, and it lost all its paint, but it is pretty comfortable, and these are good serrations. To take out the mainspring housing, really you don't have to punch this out. What you can do instead is push down on it and just push the pin out with your finger. It's not working right now, but if you wanted to get this out easier, just a little trick, you push down on this really hard and you can take it out with a lot less force than a hammer and a pin to punch it out. God damn it.